Death is something that touches all of us, often sooner and more painful than we wish. Whether it be a loved one or our own mortality, death can bring feelings of fear, pain, and loss of control. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if those facing terminal illness could experience peace, comfort, and control instead? For some, this is possible through medical assistance in dying, or MAID, a controversial but compassionate option available in some states. You may have also heard it referred to as death with dignity. David Ortlicher, Thaddeus Pope, and Ben Rich, authors of Clinical Criteria for Physician Aid in Dying and members of Aid in Dying Clinical Criteria Committee, explain MAID as an option for terminally ill, mentally capacitated adults to choose the timing and manner of their death through physician-written prescription. Today I want to talk to you about why medical assistance in death is a moral option in few states that preserves patient autonomy, causes relief of suffering, and has thoughtful regulations. Let's first start the discussion of personal autonomy, which is the right to self-govern and make one's own choices about their life, free from unreasonable external control. Even having access to MAID as an option is a valuable benefit to patient autonomy. Patients realize an improvement in their quality of life from the sense of control that comes with the mere receipt of the prescription, according to Ortlicher, Pope, and Rich. There are many cases where the patient never ingests the medication and dies from progression of the terminal illness instead. Ben Colburn from the Department of Philosophy at the University of Glasgow, author of Autonomy, Voluntariness, and Assisted Dying, says exercising voluntary choice is an important part of the idea of autonomy, no matter how it is understood. And adding the option of assisted dying to people's choice sets facilitates their making voluntary choices, even if dying is not the option they choose to pick. Death is already a fearful subject for so many people. Allowing people to have the option of control over something so frightening does cause comfort for most. Medical assistance in dying empowers individuals to reclaim personal choice in a situation where there are little choices as is. MAID is one of the most carefully monitored medical options right now and has thoughtful and strict regulations which are crucial to ensure it's used safely and appropriately by the right people choosing to use this right of individual autonomy. Ortlicher, Pope, and Rich say, although MAID has received legal recognition only since 1997 and only in few states, the experience to date permits the drafting of clinical criteria to guide physicians when their patients request MAID. While some regulations vary given the country or state, the main regulations are consistent. Aid may only be given to those eligible. To be eligible, one must have an incurable condition that will most likely result in death within 6 months. The patient also must be an adult resident of the state and possess the capacity to make major medical decisions, according to Ortlicher, Pope, and Rich. After a patient is found to have met eligibility, physicians are required to walk them through many steps to make sure they understand the full range of end-of-life care available. The first step is to make sure the patient understands the alternatives to hasting death. These options include hospice care and aggressive management of symptoms. The second step is to make sure those patients understand the other alternatives to MAID. These options include discontinuing life-prolonging treatment, palliative care, and voluntary ceasing to eat or drink. Some states even require a 15-day waiting period between 3 requests for aid and writing a prescription. This is to ensure that this request was voluntary, rational, and enduring. The patient, physician, and pharmacist all have the option to decide whether or not they're comfortable participating in the actions taken with MAID. In the United States, the only option of administration is through the patient, not the physician, according to Mara Buckbinder, a professor at University of North Carolina, and Cindy Kane, a professor at the University of Alabama, both authors of Medical Aid in Dying, New Frontiers in Medicine, Law, and Culture. Nancy Kosmal, Todd Becker, Allison Gibson, and Kara Wallace, authors of Medical Aid in Dying, How Might U.S. Policy Prevent Suffering at the End of Life, tell us the number of jurisdictions legalizing MAID has continued to increase. As this country accepts medical assistance in dying, the regulations may change little by little. However, the goal of keeping moral and safe rules will remain the same. Though MAID is a carefully monitored option, its potential to relieve suffering is perhaps its most profound benefit. According to Barbara Passut, David Wright, Sally Thorne, Margaret Hall, Gloria Pervine, Janet Storch, and Madison Huggins, writers of What Suffering Got to Do with It, a qualitative study of suffering in the context of medical assistance in dying, there are two typologies of suffering distinguished: a subjective, holistic one informed by the work of Eric Cassell, and an objective, gradual one informed by the work of Stan Van Hooft. An important aspect of Cassell's understanding was that one could not tease out aspects of suffering into specifically physical or existential domains. Further, these suffering experiences have a cognitive component. The meaning of suffering is derived from the beliefs and values of the person having the experience. Unlike Cassell, Van Hooft believes suffering need not contain cognitive content. One need not to be aware to suffer. No matter which interpretation you choose, the result of suffering is pain, either in the physical body, mentally, or both. Kazmal, Becker, Gibson, and Wallace say, MAID pursuits are concerned of decreased autonomy, quality of life, and dignity, and are all indicative of suffering. These authors also tell us that patients in Oregon reported many reasons seeking MAID, such as burdening family members, losing control of bodily functions, lacking adequate pain control, and leaving families with financial burdens. By this measure, it would appear that those who died through MAID did achieve relief of suffering. If we can relieve someone's pain compassionately and safely, why should we deny that mercy? Not only does a patient feel the suffering themselves, but friends, family, and medical staff must watch that person go through that suffering. Peace can be felt amongst the patient and those surrounding them through the choice of MAID. While MAID may not be the choice for everyone, it is a slowly growing option for end-of-life care for those who need and want it. Education on this topic is especially important when it comes to understanding the strict safeguards, empowering one's autonomy, and relieving suffering. Even though the idea of MAID may be uncomfortable, it is important to say that MAID is not about giving up on life. It is about giving patients control, comfort, and compassion in their final days. Whether it be a loved one or your own future, end-of-life decisions affect everyone, and understanding the morality of medical assistance in dying can help us make informed and compassionate decisions when it matters most. Thank you.